The day after my brother's funeral, I found his son on my doorstep, 6 years old. A bruise darkened his cheek like a secret someone wanted hidden. He clutched the railing as if it might refuse him, and his voice was so small it felt stolen. "Can I stay? Just for today?" My throat closed, but I forced the words out. "Where's your mom?" He looked at me the way children look when they've already learned the truth about monsters. His lips trembled. "She's busy." I let him in. He walked straight to the couch and sat, knees pulled up to his chest, like he already knew what safety was supposed to look like, and knew it rarely lasted. The silence after him was heavier than grief. It pressed against my chest, whispering things I hadn't wanted to hear even during the funeral. My brother's death wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of one I had been too blind to read. Something in my gut told me this was no accident. Something had been wrong long before the coffin closed. At first, I blamed grief for what I saw. My sister-in-law, Lauren, wore black at the funeral, but her eyes were dry. I told myself shock can empty a person, but the way she stood near a man I didn't recognize, the way her hand brushed his sleeve, careless and familiar, it unsettled me. The bruises on my nephew's arms, the way he flinched when her name came up, the lies she spoke casually. "He fell, he's clumsy, kids play too rough." I knew my brother. He was the one who took punches for others in high school. He would never leave his son to this, but he was gone, and I was left with questions no one wanted to answer. Late that night, as my nephew slept in the next room, I stared at my brother's photograph on the mantel. His smile looked wrong now, too trusting. Had he known? Had he died not from illness, not from bad luck, but from betrayal? I didn't rush. Rage wanted me to storm her house, demand answers. But rage burns fast. I needed the slow fire, so I watched. Lauren's car was often parked outside that man's apartment, the one from the funeral, always late, always overnight. I noted the dates, the times. I checked my brother's phone records, the ones I'd taken before the burial. Calls unanswered, gaps in days. Texts from an unknown number that ended abruptly 2 weeks before his death. One message stopped me cold. "He suspects. Be careful." I started piecing it together the way a surgeon handles a scalpel, precise, cold, without tremor. DNA tests confirmed my nephew was my brother's son, but the hospital records showed something else. My brother had gone to the ER months before his death, bruises across his ribs. He'd told them he'd fallen downstairs. No one falls that many times. Lauren's voice echoed in my head. He wasn't strong. His heart gave out. No, his heart was taken, piece by piece. And now the boy bore the same bruises. When the truth arrived, it wasn't loud. It came in a plain envelope. Inside, financial records, joint accounts drained, insurance policies signed with shaky handwriting. My brother's name forged, his savings transferred into Lauren's account days before he died. The betrayal was clinical, precise. She hadn't just cheated, she had bled him dry, body and soul, until nothing was left. That night I invited her over under the guise of discussing custody. She arrived smiling, perfume masking the rot beneath. I slid the papers across the table. She froze. Her hand trembled. "Where did you—" I didn't answer. Silence was the blade. Her face crumbled, tears spilling, not for him, not for the child, but for herself, for being caught. I watched her unravel, and I felt nothing. I didn't shout, I didn't accuse, I only asked one question. Did you love him? Her sob broke, jagged and desperate. I had to survive. He didn't give me enough. I stood, calm, detached. And yet, you took everything. Her tears turned frantic. She reached for me as if I might save her, as if I hadn't already seen the rot. I opened the door. My nephew appeared at the hall, clutching his blanket, his eyes wide and unblinking. "Go," I said. She hesitated, then she left, broken, muttering excuses into the dark. The house was silent again. My nephew crawled onto the couch, resting his head against me. I smoothed his hair, and for the first time since the funeral, I felt steady. I didn't win. There was no victory in ashes, but I had clarity. She would face the law, the records, the evidence. She would face herself. And I would not raise my voice, not once. I looked at the boy, my brother's son. He was watching me, waiting for something I couldn't yet give. "I've got you," I whispered, and as the words left my mouth, I realized they weren't a promise. They were a verdict, final, cold, unbreakable.